White cops tied a black veteran to a pole for fun, not knowing his son was their new police chief. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, drop your city or country in the comments. Let's see how far this story spreads. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. For the full story, Earl Turner was a proud veteran who had served his country in 2 wars. After years of battle, he returned quietly to his hometown, hoping for peace. Known as a respectful and humble man, Earl kept to himself, rarely talking about his time overseas. He lived simply, attending church early and helping neighbors when he could. Life had slowed down, but his courage and strength never faded. One afternoon, Earl's truck suddenly broke down right outside the police station. Needing help, he went inside to ask for jumper cables or to make a quick phone call. But instead of kindness, 2 white officers noticed him and saw an opportunity for a cruel joke. Without warning, they decided to humiliate Earl, not knowing the deep consequences their actions would bring. The 2 officers suddenly grabbed Earl and handcuffed him to a cold steel pole behind the police station. Earl was shocked and confused. He didn't understand why they treated him like a criminal. The officers laughed loudly, mocking him as they walked away without a second thought. Earl felt a deep sting of pain and betrayal. After all he'd sacrificed for his country, this was a cruel and humiliating punishment he never deserved. Hours passed, and no one came to check on Earl. The officers ignored him completely. Even a janitor who saw Earl tied to the pole chose to look away and walk past. Earl stood there, humiliated and trembling, caught between physical discomfort and emotional pain. He had served his country bravely and bled for freedom, yet now he was abandoned and mocked by the very system he once defended. The injustice cut deeper than any wound. Meanwhile, Marcus Davis, Earl's son, arrived at the police station for his first day as the new chief. Calm and focused, Marcus was determined to bring change to a troubled department. As he stepped inside, a parking attendant quietly mentioned an elderly man cuffed outside. Concern sparked in Marcus's eyes. He had no idea it was his father, and what he was about to discover would change everything. Marcus hurried around the building and stopped in his tracks. There, cuffed to the rusty pole, stood his father, Earl. Shock and disbelief flooded his mind. Security cameras had recorded the entire incident, officers laughing, mocking, and leaving Earl tied up like a joke. Marcus's calm face hardened with determination. This wasn't just an insult to a veteran. It was an attack on his family and the respect his father deserved. Without hesitation, Marcus called an emergency meeting, summoning every officer in the precinct. Holding a tablet, he played the video evidence in silence. Eyes widened, faces went pale. Then Marcus spoke clearly and firmly. "That man you tied up is my father, a war veteran and a citizen of this town. You treated him like dirt, but he deserves respect." The 2 officers shifted nervously, realizing their actions would no longer be tolerated. Marcus's voice held authority. "You don't deserve to wear this uniform." Within the hour, both officers were stripped of their badges and faced criminal charges. The entire police department was put on high alert. Marcus made it clear, this was not about revenge, but about respect, justice, and accountability. The message was simple. No one is above the law, and cruelty will no longer be hidden behind a badge. The city held a public apology ceremony days later. The mayor spoke sincerely while many citizens wiped away tears. Earl stood proudly beside his son, finally seen and respected. The old steel pole was removed and replaced with a plaque honoring those disrespected and unheard. It became a symbol of healing and a reminder of the fight for justice. Marcus immediately began pushing reforms. Body cameras were introduced, along with mandatory de-escalation training for officers. A strict zero-tolerance policy for misconduct was enforced. This wasn't just about two bad officers. It was a stand against a system that let abuse hide behind badges. Marcus's leadership became a beacon of hope for real change in the community. Justice isn't about titles. It's about action. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more powerful narratives. We want to hear your thoughts and stories in the comments. Together, we can help create a world where respect and fairness always win.